Hey guys, Nintendo Fanboy here. So, Super Nintendo systems seem to be running faster as they age. This is something I wanted to talk about a few weeks ago, just never got around to making a video, but here I am now making a video on this. Let's talk about this. Let's find out what's going on here. So, there's quite a few sources that I got this story from, and not very many people on YouTube were talking about this. So it's a good story to, or just a good thing to talk about. Um, this article right here comes from 404. Super Nintendo hardware is running faster as it ages. See what they got to say. Something very strange is happening inside Super Nintendo, also known as the Super NES or SNES or SNES. Consoles as they age, a component you've probably never heard of is running ever so slightly faster as we get further and further away from the time of the consoles first hit the market in the early 90s. The discovery started in mild panic in the speedrunning community in late February, since one theoretical consequence of faster running consoles is that you could impact how fast games are running and therefore how long they take to complete. This could potentially wreak havoc on decades of speedrunning leaderboards, which makes sense, you know. Who knows how many records, you know, throughout the years. Let me explain this a little better. Throughout the years, if this is true, and these systems are running faster than when they launch, then every year, depending when these speed runnings were done, it's, you know, they're gonna have different times. So in other words, technically, you would have to have every year would have to have their own speed runs. So like 2007, 2008, 2009, because every year they would get faster. The machine would run faster. So it wouldn't be fair to compare a time from 2007 to 2025, because right now they're running potentially as fast as in history. So if that makes sense, I'm not always the best at explaining things, but it makes sense to me. But I hope it makes sense to you guys. Um, let's go down to PC Gamer here. They have pretty much the same thing. Super Nintendo consoles appear to be running ever so slightly faster as they age, and speedrunning detectives are hot on the case. So, my question is though, are they basing this off of launch systems or what? You know, um, it says that the well, I just skipped it. Says the phenomenon appears to relate to a Sony audio processing unit called the SPC 700. Documentation provided to game developers in the 90s suggests that DSP rate of the SP 700 should be at 3200 hertz. That's what it's measured at, which is governed by a ceramic resonator. However, ceramics resonators have been known to run at higher frequencies under certain condition changes, like higher temperatures, and it appears that aging might be also change the speed of which is processed audio data. How much of a change? The fastest SPC 700 recorded so far was running at 32,182 hertz. Now, okay, so they're saying that the fastest one recorded so far is that's what it's running at. But when was this machine manufactured? Was this a launch system? Was it a Famicom? Is it a later system? I mean, my Super Nintendo, my childhood Super Nintendo, you can see it in the back right there, is from Christmas of '96. This is not a launch Super Nintendo. It's actually the Killer Instinct bundled, but it is my childhood Super Nintendo. I've had this since the '90s. It was Christmas of '96, if I remember correctly. It was the Killer Instinct set. The last time I could remember powering this Super Nintendo on was probably around, I would have to say, and I'm only guessing because I honestly can't remember exactly when was the last time I used the Super Nintendo. Is probably 2000. 2005-ish. That's probably the last time I've had this turned on, to be honest. 2005. So even before YouTube. Some of my older YouTube videos, you can actually see the system in the background. Like I'm talking about like back like 2010 and stuff. So, but anyways, with that said, I don't remember the actual last time I've powered this thing on, but the last time I used the system, it did work. And I'm curious. I'm possibly gonna turn it on one of these days, power it on. But anyways, like I said, that's a later system. Obviously, the N64 came out not too much after I got that system, if I remember correctly, because I remember that was actually the last console my parents bought me. I purchased my N64 when that came out. It wasn't too much later after that. However, with that said, I'm just saying, was my clock speed going to be different than than the early '90s version, or a launch system? Um, I I I guess it would be, right. So, I also how this thing was stored for many years, like years and years. It was stored in a and fluctuating temperatures. So it went from like freezing cold to hot, freezing cold, hot, because it was stored out in a storage. So um, hopefully it's not damaged. I doubt it. It's a Super Nintendo. So, but anyways, yeah, it's a very interesting article or topic. Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. It's pretty interesting. Do you think this something that's only gonna affect the Super Nintendo? Are we gonna find other systems in the future that this will affect? Whether it's Nintendo or not. What about the PlayStation? I'm curious about that. I mean, Sony was responsible for the Super Nintendo sound chip, and I would assume the PlayStation, the original one, had Sony chips in it as well, right? So maybe we'll find out more things in the future about this. Pretty interesting. But yeah, I'll leave links in the description to these articles if you guys are interested in reading further. I just thought it'd be pretty cool to touch base on this and just kind of give you guys just let you guys know, hey, this is happening. So, all right, guys, NFB out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.